Hello and welcome to another edition of Depth of Field. My name is Eric and I'm very excited because this week our guest is a bona fide sci-fi star. That's right. This is a man who sold hundreds of thousands of copies of his book series called the Themis Files all over the world. He's contributed to the Star Wars canon. He will be contributing to the Black Mirror canon. This is Sylvain Neuvel. Hey.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm good, I'm bona fide.
You're bona fide, yeah.
I watched Oh Brother, Where Art Thou recently.
That's right. Are you a big Coen Brothers fan, by the way?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite?
Probably that one, for some reason. I don't know.
Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Just the mood of it, the color, it's yellow.
Have you ever seen the movie The Hudsucker Proxy?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is one of my absolute favorite movies. That one and Barton Fink.
The premise is fantastic, just the plans for that.
Yeah, exactly. The guy who invented the hula hoop. If you guys out there have not seen the movie The Hudsucker Proxy starring Tim Robbins, fantastic movie. And what was her name? The fast-talking girl.
You lost me.
Yeah, someone in the chat will let us know. So if you have thoughts or comments, we're going to get deep into sci-fi because, I mean, here's a guy who really lives it and knows it. I've never met anyone who's contributed to the Star Wars universe. Can you walk us through, before we even get to your books, how did you get involved with Star Wars?
Well, you kind of have to start with my books.
Okay, let's start with your books then.
Because that's how you get there.
Right.
I'm just I'm a geek at home. I have a kid, whatever. I was watching TV with him, and I work on a computer all day, or worked on a computer all day, and now I do a different kind of work on a computer all day. And I like to do stuff, physical things, build objects or whatever. So I asked my kid if he wanted me to build him a toy, a robot.
A robot?
Yeah, the kid was like 3.
Okay.
And what's the correct answer if Dad offers to build you a toy robot?
Well, I think it's yes.
Yeah, well, no, not for my kid. What kind of robot, Dad? Well, a robot, it will do robot things, right? Does it fly? I don't know. I haven't built it yet. Does it have pilots? Does it have missiles? Who built it? Does it come from Earth or another planet? Like, whoa, dude.
So he's a very curious child.
Yeah, he wanted a story to go with the toy. I didn't have one. So I was watching Grandizer, Goldorak with him a couple days later, and I got this idea. I said, what if we found real alien stuff on Earth, left, I don't know, thousands of years ago by a unknown civilization? So,
and at this point, had you been, had you fancied yourself a writer? Had you written short stories?
Yeah, I wrote little things, but I wrote all my life. I didn't look for other reasons to write, because I've been paid to write for most of my life. I worked as a journalist. I wrote, manuals, all sorts of things, science papers, whatever.
So it's second nature to write.
Yeah. So, but I got this idea, and so I'm on my couch, and I pick up my iPhone, open Notes, and I start writing. And somehow that turned into a novel, and I thought, I didn't finish it on the phone, though.
Okay.
I thought that's pretty good. Maybe I should do something with it. So I sent it to, I don't know, maybe 55, 60.
And this first book was called?
Sleeping Giants.
Sleeping Giants, right.
And they all turned me down. I mean, no one wanted to read it. They wouldn't touch that book with a 10-foot pole. It was like 80,000 words of dialogue.
Okay.
It's a weird book. And so I thought, well, whatever, I'll self-publish. And I had a job, and whatever happens, happens. I'll sell 20 copies to my mom and friends, and I'll write the sequel, and it'll be cool. And
your son, was he helping you as you were writing it?
No, it turned into a very adult story.
Okay.
He got a kid version at bath time, but that's about it, and a toy. I designed a cover and everything, but I wanted like a quote from something that looked serious, so it would look like a real book. So I sent the manuscript to a magazine in the US, and they came back with this insanely good review, and they put it online. And the next day, I got an email from a Hollywood producer.
The next day?
Yeah, and then another, and another, and maybe like 5, 6 of them, 1 week.
So all these Hollywood producers are scouring the internet, book sites for good reviews.
They're scouring book sites for good reviews. They want to be, Hollywood is sort of was driven by many things, but fear of missing out is definitely on top of the list.
FOMO is a Hollywood.
Yeah. So, and they all want to read the book, so I sent it to them, and one of them calls me back and says, I love it. I want to help you. But put yourself in my shoes. Like a Hollywood producer you don't know calls you and says, I want to help you. How does it sound?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stick with me, kid. I'll make you a star.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay. But he did. He said, I think you need an agent. So I know this guy at Creative Artist Agency.
Oh, okay. That's a pretty big agency.
Let's go small. So he introduced me to him. We talked on the phone. And he said, so the agent says, I love your book. I'd like to represent it. I said, well, what do I do? He says, you say yes, and I'm your agent. Oh, yes? And we hang up. I run to my girlfriend. I'm like, hey, I have an agent at Creative Artist Agency. I mean, we're still thinking nothing will come of it, but it's better than my average week. It's exciting.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. So he calls like maybe a week later and says, couple of weeks maybe, we have an offer from Sony. You should say no. Like, what? So okay, no.
Sony Pictures?
Yeah, Sony Pictures. And so he calls back like a couple hours later. They raised the offer like quadrupled or whatever. So I say, okay. He says, so I think you should say yes. So, yes. It's an easy job, really. Just other people tell you what to do, and you say, okay. And so we got a movie deal, and they made a big splash out of it. It was going to be a tentpole franchise. And that got the book world interested. So my CIA agent said, are you hell-bent on self-publishing? I'm like, no. And I know this guy in New York, their agency represents John Grisham. Talk to him. So I talked to him on the phone. He said, I love your book. I'd love to represent it. So what do I do? He said, well, you say yes, and I'm your agent. Oh, I say, yeah. And,
but wait a minute, did that cause a problem because you had one agent at CAA?
No, you need both.
Okay, gotcha.
You do need both.
Yeah.
So, and a couple of weeks later, I sold a 3-book trilogy in an auction with 4 of the big 5 houses at the table.
Wow.
And that was it.
But then you had to come up with the goods for the next 2 installments.
Well, yeah, I had one down.
Well, can you actually run us through what the story of the Themis Files is? Because that's the name of the trilogy, right?
Yep.
But for someone who hasn't read it, what's the story about?
Well, it starts with an 11-year-old girl who she gets a bicycle for her birthday. So she's super excited. She pedals through the woods, gets tired, drops the bike, sees some weird light in the woods. So she starts walking, and suddenly the ground gives under her. And she falls in a hole, wakes up a few hours later. She's lying in the palm of a giant metal hand. Dun, dun, dun. So flash forward like 17 years later, she's a scientist. She's somehow reunited with that big hand. And she leads a team of scientists and pilots scouring the planet looking for giant metal body parts. And that sort of creates some political problems. And so it's a bit of a political thriller. It's not a big spoiler to say that you can assemble those parts at the end and build something, but that's not really a big part of the book. I mean, it's the opposite of Pacific Rim.
Okay.
Yeah, I build the sort of unique mecha story without really having a mecha in it.
Okay. But there are giant creatures at war, or giant...
Oh, the shit hits the fan in the second one, and then it's you see more of it and more of them, and then really bad things happen. Lots of people die. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, you have to in that kind of story, right?
I don't know if you have to, but I enjoy sort of killing people by the million when I can.
You're Thanos, basically.
Yeah, I'm Thanos.
Yeah. By the way, speaking of Thanos, I did see Avengers Endgame. I will be talking about it later, spoiler free.
You wouldn't talk to me about it.
Yeah,
so.
no, I'm not going to give anything away. I don't want to make you guys mad. Don't forget to send us your questions and any thoughts that you have. Anything you want to ask. This is the time because we have insight into the brain of a science fiction master.
Master?
Yeah.
I was
Hey,
bona
listen,
fide a minute ago. I am a master?
You've gone from bona fide to master.
Wow.
Or what did you call yourself before? You said...
Half decent.
Half decent, right, exactly.
Good intro. Hi, I'm here with, welcome to Depth of Field. I'm here with half decent author Sylvain Neuvel. I like it.
So, okay, so your style of science fiction is also more grounded. You're not doing the kind of crazy fantastical stuff. You like to keep it rooted in some sense of reality, correct?
Yeah, pretty much everything I write happens here, more or less now. So this story, for example, I mean, it has alien artifacts in it. There's some, fantastic aspects to it, but mostly it's a story about a handful of people who get their lives turned upside down by stuff, and how they react through it and live through those life-changing events.
So last time we spoke, because we met when I interviewed you for a French language show here in Montreal called
You were in my house.
I was in your house, that's right. And I should say, by the way, you are Thanos confirmed, says Elizabeth A. Neal.
Thank you.
So yes, I've been to Sylvain's house, and what really amazed me, and we're jumping all over the place here, but your laundry room is the coolest laundry room I've ever seen because it also acts as your playroom, basically. You've got so many action figures and trinkets and I guess little idols to the science fiction world that you love so much, including what we see here. This is we have the Iron Giant over here, which is a super cool, wow, nice
Talks
heft
if
to
you
it.
press the little thing in the back. Right
Really?
there.
Whoa.
Little Vin Diesel.
Oh, I forgot Vin Diesel did the voice for that. That's right. And here we have, hold on. Here, you got to show that one because I don't want to.
Oh, there you go.
This
the Grand
is
Moff
yes, who basically was telling Darth. He is senior to Darth Vader.
I don't know if they're really senior, but he's the only person in the Empire who, in A New Hope, shushes Vader.
Right.
Like, stop it with a force choke. And I, aside from a few things like the Iron Giant, I collect action figures with human likenesses. Because anyone, well, maybe not anyone, but it's easy to make an Iron Man figure that look like Iron Man. I could probably do it. It's really hard to do Peter Cushing's in like that size.
Yeah, no, that's pretty. Actually, that is amazing. When you get close up, that's even like every comb mark in his hair is that's fantastic.
So and that collection is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and I have like stuff that I bought from the sets of a Battlestar Galactica, and I have other props and stuff I made myself, including a robot for my kid.
Which where from where all this came, basically. Yeah. You also have the Finn jacket.
I have a Finn jacket. My editor at Del Rey, hey Sarah, bought me a leather jacket from the Finn leather jacket. I got that
editor.
when the third book came out. That was cool.
And the third book came out not too long ago, maybe about a year ago, right?
Last May.
Yeah, so just about a year.
Coming on a year, yeah. The paperback just came out like April something, a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, wow, okay. Yeah. And so when that happens, do you go on book tours? Do you sign and travel the world and act like a rock star?
Well, I've never done an actual book tour because that implies not coming home between two things. So then but I go back and forth. So last year I went to, where did I go? It was a big year. The year book releases, so you travel a little more. I went to Seattle a couple times, Phoenix, Denver, New York. I went to France. I went to China.
Wow.
That was cool, with a Canadian delegation.
Really?
Yep. I was jet lagged and half drunk all the time. I remembered nothing, but I went to China.
I have the souvenirs.
I walked on the Great Wall of.
Wow.
Yeah.
And when you're doing that, like, are you already absorbing inspiration for the next novel? And are you thinking about what's coming next, or are you just living in the moment?
I'm just mostly living in the moment. I mean, it's you go to a new town and there are like 150 people lining up to get their book signed by you.
It's a pretty cool feeling.
You take it in. It's cool. It might never happen again. It's like a once in a lifetime thing. I'm just super lucky, and I have the greatest readers in the world for some reason.
Well, how would you describe your fans, other than being the greatest in the world?
They're the greatest in the world.
But is there a certain type of science fiction fan that reads your stories?
Well, it might be maybe a little common to all science fiction, except the big franchises who draw their own share of less, I don't know, fun fans.
Okay, yeah.
But generally speaking, sci-fi will bring in very positive people.
Yeah.
Like they're not trying to find the one thing that's bad in everything. They're just, they want to enjoy what they're doing and what they're reading and what they're watching. And if there's a way to do that and then find it good, they'll find the good in things. And it's fun to be around.
Oh, that's amazing. There is a comment, hold on, that we have from Mongani, who says, "Stop being a baby having a tantrum, Anakin." Yes, a reference to, I keep on forgetting his name, what's his name?
Grand Moff Tarkin.
Grand Moff Tarkin, of course, exactly.
I think it's talking about me, but yeah.
Oh, right, exactly. Now let us talk about Star Wars.
Yes.
Because, so through all of this, you were then approached by the folks at Lucasfilm to contribute to Star Wars Magazine.
Yeah, this is why we had to start with the book, because now I'm under contract. I have to write another book. I'm terrified. It's a very different process. But I have a long time because I sold the book, I don't know, October of 2014.
Okay, so that's going back 5 years.
It comes out April 2016.
Okay.
So I have plenty of time to write book 2 before book 1 comes out. And I'm, again, on my couch. I still have a full-time job back then, so I'm just doing my regular thing.
As a translator?
Yeah, I run a translation agency.
Right.
So I get an email, would you be interested in writing for Star Wars Magazine? Like, writing what? Like, I thought it was going to be like, your love of Star Wars or what it meant for you as a kid. No, like a story. It'll be canon. I'm like, oh, hell yeah. But I didn't think I had this idea, like right away, it just popped in my head. I knew what I wanted to do. And I was absolutely convinced they would never publish it.
Why?
It's before Disney. Force Awakens hasn't come out yet, so Star Wars at this point, up until then, is still one of the most black and white franchises ever. The bad guys tell you, we're on the dark side here, just so there's no confusion. Where we are bad, we dress in black, and the good guys are insanely good, and no one will betray anyone, and whatever. So, and my idea was all gray. It's I could tell you about it.
Yeah. We have the time.
We have the time.
We have the technology. We can rebuild.
It's the life of a stormtrooper.
Which, funny enough, was how they began Force Awakens.
Force Awakens, which is when I saw the trailer, I was like, whoa, that's weird. But he's not Finn. He doesn't leave the Empire. The idea came because I thought if you live on a planet that is part of the Empire, they're the police, right? The rule of law is the Empire. It's the stormtroopers. And
be them good or bad, they are still the
if you
authorities.
lived on a lawless planet where you couldn't even walk outside without getting shot, these guys show up dressed in white, clunky things, and they can't see anything, but they will stop the bad guys, and then you can walk outside, right? So this kid, he rose up on this planet. His family runs a farm of air scrubbers, and criminals, to them, rebels, criminals, whatever, anyone who goes against the law is all the same, and they come and they try to steal one of those air scrubbers. And
the air scrubbers are the...
Well, mine are different. They're in Wikipedia now.
Okay.
They're like pylons or whatever. And so they tie one to a ship. Thank you.
Just a quick thing. Iravana says, the Themis Files now added to my wish list for next read after I finish the last Honor Harrington book. That is so cool.
That's cool.
This is why we do this. Yeah.
So they tie one of those scrubbers to a ship, and the father shoots at it, and the thing falls down through the roof and kills my guy's little sister.
Oh.
And right at that moment, he's maybe said like probably 7, something like that, and he knows that what he wants to do later in life is be a stormtrooper and kill rebels.
Because the rebels are the ones who killed his sister.
Because the rebels are the one who killed his sister. And so that's his father doesn't want him to, because doesn't want him to risk his life or whatever. But he does it. He runs away from home, enlists, goes to school. They put him through hell, but they put broken glass in his boots and everything. And then like his instructor hates him, but he makes it through, and he's a stormtrooper. And then he ends up on Eriadu, which is Moff Tarkin's home planet, and he's basically a beat cop. He stops shoplifters, and like that's not what he thought he was gonna do, but he still finds some satisfaction doing it. But eventually he leaves for another planet where worse things are happening, and then he's asked to do things that to him at least don't seem necessarily right. So, but at the same time he understands that maybe doesn't see the big picture and whatnot. He's still, he's sort of conflicted, but he's still a stormtrooper.
So already the black and white is out the window.
Oh yeah, it's
and
all gray.
There's a lot of nuance.
And then, so they follow a shipment of crystals has been stolen, and they follow the leads to a town, and then they start basically saying like if the culprit doesn't come up, we'll kill this guy and whatever. And so this man comes out of his house and points a gun at one of the stormtroopers, and my TK shoots him, because you don't do that. You don't point a gun at a stormtrooper. And so, but then his daughter runs out of the house, and she's like over the body of her now dead father, and as she grabs the gun and she shoots him. The story actually begins with him on his knees feeling the blood pool inside his armor. And as he's dying, he sees in that girl's eye the same transformation that he went through. She goes from scared little girl to fierce warrior, and he knows right at that moment that she'll grow up to be a rebel and she'll want to kill stormtroopers. And so the circle is complete and whatever. You can read that story in the magazine, of course. It's also available, I don't know if it's available in Canada, but in the US, the Del Rey Star Wars sampler from 2016 has that story in it, and it's free.
So does this mean, hold on, I want to get to 2 comments, and then I have a question. So really interesting premise, says Mongani. I think so as well, and it's interesting that, I mean, essentially, if you think about it, The Force Awakens really was, we never thought of stormtroopers as having any kind of humanity before. And so, you know, you were on the right track there.
And once you pass clones, they're all volunteers, right?
Yeah.
They can't all be idiots and like raging killing machines or whatever. There's a reason for them to be there.
That's it. You were looking for the motivation, you know, in this one person, but each of them have their own stories and each has their own motivation. So we also have Osab, who says it's definitely a much deeper dive into trooper life than we got in Solo and Star Wars Rebels. So, I mean, yeah, that's true. Do you think that they would ever, you know, is there a chance that this could be turned in, if the Rogue Ones and the Solo stories, you know, is there a possibility that your story could ever be turned into a movie?
I'd love to do it. I'd love for them to do it, but I'd love to actually write a bigger thing. Mm-hmm. Same guy. I just go back and rewrite that thing, but make it huge. Somehow, I think my stormtrooper deserves a bigger life than what he got in a handful of pages in a magazine. I think it would make a good movie. At some point, I'd love it if they did. Doesn't have to be that, but like an adult Star Wars, like one where you don't take your kids.
Right. Yeah.
Just a darker, deeper, where you can do things.
Something tells me, I'm not sure that Disney, well, you have your thoughts about what Disney is. You feel that Disney is taking it in a very positive place. I was going to say, I don't know if Disney is going to let it get to adults only or destined for adults.
They killed everyone in Rogue One.
That's true.
They let it happened. I was impressed.
So Rogue One is your favorite. Hold on. Mangani says probably a series on Disney Plus like The Mandalorian. That's true. Yeah.
I have a feeling that The Mandalorian on Disney Plus will be somewhat gritty, but still, my son will be able to watch it and I won't freak out if he does.
And is The Mandalorian the one that has Carl Weathers? Is that, does anybody know? Mangani, let us know. I think I saw Carl Weathers is somehow involved in that. One of my favorites. Cool. Okay, could you? Oh yes. So Rogue One, but just before we get there, I mean, with all your representation, do you think that they could? Is the infrastructure there or the influence there for them to reach out to the Star Wars people and say, hey, we actually have something here, and especially seeing as where Star Wars is going, do you want to consider that?
Well, it sort of normally it runs the other way. Like when I did that story, it went back and forth between me, my editor, and the people at Lucas, and they changed a few things.
At Lucasfilm, you mean?
At Lucasfilm, yeah, they didn't like my long. I have a long Stormtrooper number because it bugs me that every time you meet a Stormtrooper, he's like TK 11, right. 412, and like there are tens of thousands of them, maybe millions. One of them has to have a long number, so I wrote it as TK 146275, and they didn't like it. So the official name is now TK 462, and if you read it in the Del Rey Star Wars sampler, it'll be. The title is TK462, but the magazine printed an earlier version.
The old one, yeah, so I saw that.
It's got the long thing. So, but normally, Lucas will say we need a book, and they'll say either like this is when it happens. It's either tied to a movie or in between movies or whatever, and then the book people will find someone to write the book. I've never heard of the. Well, I really want to turn my little story into a movie. How about that, Lucasfilm? I don't think it works that way, but it'd be cool.
Yeah, but I've also never heard of someone who just, sat on his couch and thought up a story and then wrote it on his phone and then submitted it to a magazine and then Hollywood called the day after. So maybe you're special and maybe you've got the Force. Could be.
That's it.
That could be it. We have a couple of other comments. Urbana says, yes, he's the Merc Captain.
There you go.
And Mangani says, they have an entire streaming service to fill. I think they'd be stupid not to have TK462 in a series. Yes! I'd like to see this. Yeah,
it's
exactly.
settled.
And the name actually, I mean, I could see that. TK467.
Yeah. I would call because it'd be more than one character, right? He has a little platoon on this other planet. They're cool. One of them was a Nerf herder. We use scruffy-looking Nerf herder. Well, he was actually on a Nerf farm, and he compares everything. Like his philosophy is based on Nerf farming, and so every decision he makes, he can sort of relate to it. So there's a bunch of them. I would call it bucket heads.
Wow, nice. I like that.
See?
So you've really thought this all out.
I thought this all out.
Okay, so
just need to, I don't know, someone to hand me control of Lucasfilm for a few months.
Have you met Kathleen Kennedy? Did you have any interaction with her?
No.
Okay, one day. It'll happen. I think she's watching, by the way. Kathleen, if you're watching, Sylvain is the guy. Rogue One is your favorite.
Yeah, it sort of grew to be my favorite. It's a weird thing. All the Disney movies get better every time you watch them. And they get dramatically better on the first rewatch. It's true of all of them, really. Solo, The Last Jedi, really, like your view of it will change a lot. But I've watched Rogue One maybe 10 times now.
Wow.
And it gets better every time. And I think it somehow, I don't know, it sort of smooths over that movie suffers from the fact that it has probably too many characters for the time they have to
for people to get acquainted with them.
Yeah, right. But you pick up on little things, and if you watch 10 times, then you've spent 10 times as much, the time with everyone. So yeah, right now it's my favorite one.
What makes it what is it about that movie that you appreciated so much? Or that you think was underappreciated?
Well, I don't know. But there's very little mythology in it. It's just a human story.
That's true.
Yeah. There's no, you're great because you come from this family and blah, blah, blah. It's just a bunch of people who put their lives on the line to save the world. And
Like you say, they all...
and they all die. And so it doesn't have a Hollywood ending. I think it, even from a visual perspective, it strikes the right balance between sort of like super well lit stuff and like the extra dark Game of Thrones where I can't see anything.
Right.
It's I don't know. It's good middle ground.
Well, it's interesting that you brought up how Star Wars before was just black or white. And so this movie itself has that mix of, it's gray in and of itself.
Oh yeah, it's gray. It's gray. It looks gray, but it's got Captain Andor just kills people that maybe didn't need to be killed.
Right. Yeah.
And eventually he
meets his...
has to kill another person who probably doesn't need to be killed, and this time he doesn't do it. But
who plays him again?
He's supposed to kill Jyn Erso's father.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's true.
He's got the scope out, it's raining, and then he decides not to do it.
We have a couple of comments.
Oh.
Elizabeth A. Neal says, I love Rogue One, although I seem to be in the minority, LOL. Mongani says, Rogue One really holds up for me, and Irvana says, I love all the Disney Star Wars movies. So I think everybody's in agreement, actually. We have no dissenting comments here. Everybody agrees that Rogue One is great, that Disney is doing a good job with the Star Wars movies. So
once we got past the cat food changing, I thought things got really better.
What was that again?
Cat food? It's my theory on Star Wars.
Okay.
The Force Awakens is just new. It's changing cat food. If you have cats and you buy a new brand, you can't give them the new cat food because they're going to hate it or they're going to throw up. So you put half of the old cat food and half of the new cat food, and you mix it in, and over a few days or weeks, you just give them more and more of the new cat food, and eventually they accept it and they like it.
So what you're saying is that The Force Awakens was, there was enough of the old mixed in with the new that it was like a...
Yeah, it was brilliant. I mean, because people would have had a hard time accepting new heroes and new stories and whatnot, but I thought we were done after The Force Awakens. But then even in The Last Jedi, you get like little moments of old cat food, like when Rey is in Snoke's throne room and like he's holding her in the air, and she has to watch her puny rebellion get like destroyed. And so, but I think by episode 9, we should be done with all this, and we could enjoy our new cat food thoroughly.
What was your take on the new trailer?
I like all this. These guys are good, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what's in the movie. You think like, oh, I'm skeptical. I'm worried about many things. I don't want him to undo Rey's non-parentage. I'm worried they're going to mess that up because it's so cool if she comes from nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's one of the things that bugs me, like this idea that if your parents were not important, you can't amount to anything. Like you don't want kids to dream about being born of someone else just so they can achieve something. You want them to believe they can achieve anything on their own, right?
And could she be she could be a Jedi without having any kind of blood relatives who are Jedi.
Yeah,
right?
and I mean at the end of the movie, you see that this kid who just like sort of forces the broom into his hand, like maybe by this much, and then you realize the force is for everyone.
Everywhere.
Yeah, and one of the things I like about The Last Jedi is it also somehow, to some extent, at least redeems the episodes 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Because suddenly, Anakin is no longer just this naive idiot who believes everything that Palpatine tells him. He's actually right about many things, and the Jedi are sort of trying to keep all this for themselves, and in some ways. And
Again, with the black and white and nuance.
Yeah, and then so you throw some gray in there, and suddenly those 3 movies that I didn't like at the time become at least more enjoyable.
Have you gone back and watched any of the prequels?
Yeah, that's what I mean. They become
and
better.
And so even the prequels now with
new movies change your view of everything that was done. I mean, one of the funnest things to do is to rewatch A New Hope after you've seen Rogue One. It's just fantastic.
Yes,
it's
exactly.
It's happened. It's happening right there.
I love that montage that they did on the net of, as soon as one ends, the other starts, and it was seamless.
Yeah,
it's perfect.
And it gives a totally new meaning to the early scenes, like when Vader boards the ship, and Leia tells him we're on a diplomatic mission. Like no, you're not.
What was the analogy you gave before?
Oh yeah, it's like a kid being pulled over with like rolling down the window and like pot smoke comes out of everywhere. Like no, you're not. I was on your ship 20 minutes ago. I just threw people at walls for 5 minutes. Yeah.
We have more comments. Mongani says, "Wow, that's a really good analogy," and I think that's the cat food analogy, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, cat food.
Zen Robo says, "I love it," and Uravana says, "And I adore Rose."
Me too.
Yeah.
Rose is the main character in my first book, and I made a little Lego Rose for my kid.
Really?
And then I got a Lego Rose from the movie, and I'm hoping we can get more roses.
So Rose is in your first book, you said?
Well, not that Rose.
Right, exactly, but the name Rose.
Yeah, and my son does really cool things with the Lego of my book characters. I thought he was gonna just, I don't know, use him as cannon fodder or just rip them apart, but no, they kick ass. So Rose and Rose together can do many, many things.
So what's next for you on the writing? Are we going to see anything on screen?
Who knows?
Okay.
You've
been in top, but Sony Pictures came calling you. You have representation. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, there may or may not be some things in the work that you may or may not be able to talk about.
Well, here's what I can talk about.
Okay.
The Sony Picture deal expired. It was a weird time for Sony. They were making the news a lot, and eventually that option ran out. It was purchased by Sony Television for possibly making a TV show, and that option ran out. And I can tell you there was a lot of interest from over 20 other production companies.
Wow.
And if one of them had the rights, I could not tell you because I can't.
Okay.
I just can't.
Well, I'm very excited to hear about what you can't tell us.
Yeah, there are so many things I can't tell you.
Right. Or you just have to kill all of us.
Yes.
All of us.
And trust me, I can do it.
I bet you have means and ways.
Yeah.
So, okay.
I've killed millions. I'm Thanos.
Well, shall we get to Thanos?
We can get to Thanos.
Okay, so I want to ask you something.
Yep.
I was rewatching Infinity Wars, or Infinity War, I guess I should say. And in preparation for Endgame, I did see Endgame. It is a ton of fun. It's, all the people are talking about it on social media, calling it an epic, beautiful wrap-up of all these stories, and it's a love letter to the MCU. My favorite MCU character appears, so I'm very happy about that. There's a lot of humor, which is the thing that I feel is what Marvel has really kind of subtly gotten right more and more. And so, the movies that I loved in the most in that whole series were the Thor Ragnaroks, the Guardians of the Galaxies, Ant-Man, Doctor Strange. And so all of that sensibility is brought to the fore here. And I was a little bit worried that most of the characters that survived the last movie are the ones that I would consider otherwise to have been the more boring ones. I was less interested in the Iron Man and the Captain America and some of the and Black Widow.
I like the people with no superpowers.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you get Black Widow and Hawkeye.
Exactly, and so
I'd probably keep those two.
And they finally, I've been saying this for a long time. They never got Hulk right. There's some really cool stuff that happens with Hulk. I'm not going to say, but Hulk is a tremendously fun character in this one. It's not as emotionally Oh, I mean, you can't, as you know, Infinity War, you know, that ending, I showed it to my girlfriend who's not at all into superhero movies, and she was like, but what happens to them all? I need to know what happens to them all.
So I'm not great ending to the whole thing.
It could have been a great ending to the whole thing.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you what happens in this one, but I think, you know, judging by what a lot of people are saying online and my experience in it, if you loved everything before, this is going to be the perfect wrap-up for you.
Okay.
Now, let me ask you about Thanos. Is he a bad guy? Is Thanos, you know, we talked about black and white and good and evil and gray zones. Was he just someone who believed in balance, who went about it in strange ways, or did he actually have an evil streak that, you know?
No, he's a bad guy. See, I don't
Is
know.
he?
Well, if he's not, then your standards for badness have to be sort of re-examined.
But are his motivations evil? Maybe that's my question.
But no one has evil motivations. I mean, no one gets up one morning and says, I'm going to be the bad guy because I will do bad things because they're bad.
Yeah, maybe
If they don't, then because they're
or
poorly written characters, they all have motivations of sorts.
fair enough.
I mean, it's much more interesting to ask that question about, I forgot his name, but the Black Panther quote-unquote villain.
Oh, the Michael C. Yes, I felt very similar about that. What was his name again? Anybody? Killer. Hold on. Killmonger. That's right. Yeah, exactly. Iravana says no bad guy considers themselves the bad guy. Is that true? Come on, wait a minute. What about Gary Oldman in The Professional? Does he not? Does he not consider himself a bad guy?
No.
Okay. What about Gary Oldman in Fifth Element? Does he not consider himself a bad guy?
Probably not.
What about Gary Oldman in True Romance? No, I'm kidding.
Maybe Gary Oldman, period.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I don't know.
Okay. So how do you feel about, you know, we were ranking Star Wars and Rogue One trumps Empire Strikes Back, and then it gets complicated. What about the MCU?
Oh, see, I'm going to disagree with everyone.
Fair enough.
Everyone goes to Winter Soldier.
Not me.
And to me, it was like such a wasted opportunity because you get into that gray area and suddenly you question the motives of the people you work for and are you, you know, really fighting for good and are you hurting people in the process? And there's so many interesting questions and you could keep digging and have people disagree kind of in the way that they do in Civil War, more or less. But
Right.
But if you go down that road, there's so many interesting things you can do without suddenly making S.H.I.E.L.D. like friggin' Hydra and like have cartoon evil characters, Nazis inside computers and like that's too much. You just want the regular S.H.I.E.L.D., but you question whether they're good or bad. That'd be cool, right? So not my favorite.
Okay.
I don't know. The first Iron Man is good.
Mm-hmm. Well, wasn't that the first Avengers? That was the first MCU movie, wasn't it?
Well, it depends if you count the other Hulk and
right, exactly.
whatever. And
Okay.
Yeah, that was good. I like sort of a lot of the new ones. I will say that Captain Marvel was fantastic.
Mm-hmm. We have someone here who would disagree with you. Julian.
Oh.
And you know what? I actually have to. I didn't love it as much. It was good, but I did feel she was a little too powerful, a little bit.
That's what I love about it. I love her arc because she's not. I don't know. Like I wasn't doing much with my life. I'm not. You know, I was probably not that great, but I got bit by some weird thing, and now I have superpowers. She didn't have the. You know, regular people, whatever, to whatever. She was always badass.
Right.
And her arc is coming to terms with how badass she actually is and stop asking permission to just be all that she can be. I don't know, I loved it. I loved Ant-Man because it was unique and cool. Favorite MCU? I don't know. I might. Maybe because it's recent, but I might go for
Captain Marvel. Really?
Maybe.
Okay, there you go. I think I'm going to go Ragnarok.
Yeah, but just because of that scene, I would probably go Ragnarok with you, but for one scene.
For the battle.
Yeah, Rainbow Bridge, Hulk fighting a big wolf. There are fireworks. And there are other things that bug me in that movie, but yeah, another person with like 7 PhDs. Again, I hate that to do that.
Oh, right, exactly. Okay, fair enough.
No
But
one does that. No one.
for me, Taika Waititi, like the direction in that movie was just so amazing. And Korg, what a character! What an amazing character. There's something I want to show. So I was going to show the trailer for yet another trailer or teaser for Avengers, so I could talk about it. But you know what? First of all, I believe last week we got a groan from someone when we were going to put another Avengers trailer on. So we're not going to do that. But last night on the Tonight Show, they did one of their sing-alongs where they got the entire cast of Avengers to sing along to Billy Joel's "We Didn't Start the Fire," and they've rewritten the lyrics, and it's kind of Brady Bunch style. And this generated like 5 million views in a matter of minutes. So you guys might have seen it, but some of you might not have. So let's have a look. This is the Avengers Tonight Show thing, which may or may not work, right? It's no. This we're going for it. Here we go. Avengers doing "We Didn't Start the Fire." Booyah.
Tony Stark, Iron Man, Nick Fury has a plan. Big shot, pepper pots, arc reactor core. Asgard, itching war, Loki and his brother Thor. Bruce Banner, radiation transformation. Coulson and Maria Hill, they're the agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Kid Barton, Hawkeye, Black Widow, Russian spy. Captain Rogers, World War II. Bucky, Peggy, I love you. First Avenger, here we go. Everyone a step forward. Stop the fire. It was always burning since the world's been turning. We didn't start the fire. No, we didn't light it, but we tried to fight it. Obadiah, Blonsky, Whiplash, Laufey, Red Skull, Hydra, Arnim Zola, Loki. Battle for humanity, stones of infinity, space, time, soul, life, power, and reality. War Machine, Falcon Spin, Bucky Barnes is back again. Star-Lord, Gamora, 2, Drax, Rocket, I am Groot. Vision, Mantis, Nebula, Ultron and Sokovia, Civil War, Ant-Man, Scarlet Witch and Spider-Man. Doctor Strange, Ragnarok, Henry Janet and the Wasp, Black Panther in Wakanda, Shuri, Okoye, Killmonger, Captain Marvel, Goose the Captain, flying higher, further, faster, Thanos and Infinity War. I can take it anymore. Start the fire. It was always burning since the world's been turning. We didn't start the fire, but when we are gone, it will still burn on and on and on and on and on. We didn't start the fire.
Pretty cool.
That was cool.
Yeah, I gotta say, I mean, these guys have found think about 10 years ago, 15 years ago, before MCU was the MCU. The idea, superheroes were relegated to kind of, the dark corners of geek culture, but this is the biggest thing out there now.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of disagree with that.
Okay.
It's one of those like sci-fi is going mainstream things.
Oh, right, and you don't want to.
Yeah, but I mean, Star Wars was big and whatnot, and the first Batman was big. And
Okay, no, you know what? I take it. I retract my statement. It's been coming for a long time. We didn't start the fire, right?
Yeah.
It's always burning since the world was turning.
But I mean, like they say that about science fiction every year, and I mean, yeah, you have the one thing that everyone watches. You have the, same with science fiction and fantasies. If we go a little larger, but you have the Game of Thrones and you have the Star Wars and you have not. But
I wouldn't have
true,
guessed.
like for the longest time. I grew up with Alien and Fifth Element and Terminator and so on. And again, when Brie Larson, like finally we show that a woman can carry a sci-fi movie. What do you think like Sigourney Weaver was doing with,
Right.
like we've known forever that a woman can carry a sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
They just didn't want to make one. It's not. I don't know. It bugs me.
Well, and that's fair enough because you're writing. You know, you're part of this movement that's going to be the next wave of all this stuff. Well, let's hope.
I'm bona fide.
You're bona fide. Let's look at your list of favorite movies, and then maybe we'll play a little bit of tagline trivia. So, Aliens, and this is in no particular order, but you also
Really not. I mean, there was not a scientifically made thing.
right.
So.
But some of them you put, one is better than the other. So, Aliens trumps Alien.
Yeah, I don't know if it's true. From a I don't know, cinematography perspective.
No. I want to know your perspective.
I grew up with stuff. I mean, and for some reason, a lot of it was James Cameron.
Yeah.
He just happened to make movies at the right time for the movies to influence me more than others, for example. But yeah, so I do like Aliens more than I like Alien.
Well, funny enough, that whole franchise, I mean, everyone was directed by a luminary. The first one was
Ridley Scott.
Ridley Scott, then James Cameron, then who did the third one? Fincher did the third one,
Yeah,
and the
like
fourth
that
one was Jeunet.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, that's each of them putting their own touch to it.
Yeah.
And then, what was the one last year? There was one that came out not too long ago, wasn't there? Or am I mixing it up with Prometheus?
Yeah, but that was
Ridley Scott again. Yeah, exactly.
Wasn't District 9?
Oh, right.
Wasn't he supposed to make one? That
Yeah,
would've been cool.
that would have been. What do you think of his movies?
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked Chappie.
Chappie was fun. Yeah.
Anything with robots, easy to sell, but I like Chappie. District 9 was cool. I think he could have done cool things with it.
Well, he's not. I mean, I think he's still active. We haven't heard much from him lately. Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Yes.
Yes. So Spielberg, that was pretty early on, I guess, in his.
Yeah, probably 4.
Yeah.
When that comes out, someone asked me what was the first sci-fi movie I saw, and I answered that, and they asked if I saw it in the theater, and I said yes, because I kind of remember seeing it in the theater, but I asked my dad, it doesn't make any sense. You wouldn't have taken me to see that movie at 4, right? And he said,
Well, maybe.
He said, yeah, you can handle stuff, so yeah.
Is that the first movie you remember seeing?
In a theater?
In a theater? Yeah. Okay. Your son is?
He's 9.
9. What's the first movie you brought him to see?
At the
theater. Yeah.
It's a good question. It's the kind of stuff you need to write down. I'm sorry, Theo.
Well, let's see a photo of Theo. We have, I think there's a photo of the two of you guys together. Can we bring up the photo? We could tell that Sylvain really loves his son. That his son really loves him, right?
Yeah, it's a father and son moment.
It's a beautiful thing.
Comic-Con.
Let us know when it's up on the screen. This was at Comic-Con, right?
This was at Comic-Con, yeah. Because we normally will cosplay together. And
Yeah.
we try to find things that match. So one year we were space pirates. I was
It's on the screen now? Okay, awesome.
I was Captain Orlok, and he was one of those pirate Power Rangers or whatever. And then we did Guardians of the Galaxy, Chris Pratt, Star-Lord.
Star-Lord,
together.
yeah.
And then we wanted I wanted a father and son moment, and so we did Han Solo and Kylo Ren.
Which we're seeing right now.
I thought that was really cool.
Good job,
Yeah.
kid, says Elizabeth A. Neal. We have a cosplay show too. So maybe at some point you guys should come on our cosplay cave, which is on Wednesday nights. And you can actually do cosplay.
I don't spend a lot of time at my office anymore, but I have a life-size Darth Vader behind my desk, and a life-size Grandizer robot. Both of them are costumes that I made.
So you're very handy too.
I like to build stuff.
That's cool.
Not that handy. I learn while I'm doing it, but it's cool. And if it will take me 10 times the time it would take someone who knows what they're doing.
But you enjoy doing it.
But enjoy doing it.
We have other photos. And Mangani says that's adorable. I think one of the photos that we have is the Stormtrooper, right? And that is TK for...
The painting.
Yeah, the painting, yeah.
See, this is cool because they in the magazine they'll illustrate the short stories, which I thought was already cool. But this guy, instead of drawing it or whatever, he did oil paintings.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know, maybe a year and a half later, I get an email from someone who's at Star Wars Celebration saying he's selling the paintings from your story.
I think it's on the screen now, yeah.
Oh, I'm like, no, I can't. No, you're not. So just go talk to him. Tell him to, I don't know, email me. And so we discussed, and I managed to buy the bigger one.
The oil painting of...
Oil painting, and I found a very discreet, subtle frame to go with it.
Right. Yeah. And it hangs in your living room.
Yeah, how many times, like how often do you contribute to Star Wars canon? I mean, if I could have lasers on that thing, I would probably add them on.
If they called you to do another story, would you have an idea right away? Do you know what your next Star Wars story would be?
Probably.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And which storyline would it be part of?
My Stormtrooper story is I think in a good time. It overlaps with Solo. The end of it, the end of my TK's life is the beginning of Rebels. So it's a good period to play in. Mm-hmm. I'd probably go back to that.
Perfect.
Era.
Mangani says that's beautiful and fits the story perfectly.
It's great work.
Yeah.
And now I'm drawing a blank on the name of the artist, but he's awesome.
Should we look him up? Can we look him up? Is it Googleable?
It's Googleable.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
Okay. Well, I'm not gonna. It's gonna be a very interesting episode. I'll just be
It'll
Googling.
come back to me.
Right.
Drew Baker.
Drew Baker. There you go. Right.
We have magic voices in the back playing.
What is we have a third image. What was the third one you sent?
My son's bed.
Oh, right. Okay, so I haven't even seen this. Let me look.
I build stuff.
Okay, yes. Let me look at what you built for your son. Can we put it up on the screen, please? Okay, so photos to show.
That thing was hardcore. Him and his mom went
Oh
away
my God! Yes.
for like 1 week. They went to up north for like I think 5-6 days, and so I have like 5 days to build that thing. But I'm also working, so I'm building this like at night and like until like 2-3 in the morning, and it's got lights. It has a little joystick you can play with.
I see that.
And the little screen inside is it has a name, but like the radar screen in Battlestar Galactica.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God! And is there looks like there's a girl like a almost like a tattoo style.
I don't know. Some people will disagree with the choice, but
I think it's great.
One of those like they had on
the
old
trucks.
bombers.
On the bombers.
With
Okay,
the number of kills.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Does he ever actually get to sleep though? Like I know if my son were in a bed like that, he would literally just be bouncing off the bed.
He plays in it too, but he sleeps in it.
Wow. He must be so proud of his dad. Like, he's at an age where all this is the coolest stuff in the world.
Yeah, I make him do things he doesn't want to do and whatever. I'm still a dad though.
The funniest image I ever saw actually was, it was a meme. Well, no, I guess it was a meme. It was a photo of Tom Araya, who is the singer of Slayer. And he's with his family on some red carpet, and they're all dressed up, and he's giving his devil horns, and his wife is smiling, and his kid is smiling, and his teenage daughter is standing there with them going, "Oh God!" And like you could even be the singer of Slayer, and you're still not cool to your own kids. So yeah, I guess I understand that. But then again, you could say, "Look, go to your room. Yep. Go check out your bed, and tell me I'm not the best dad in the world." Yeah.
That made me think of the funniest meme I've seen. But,
what's that?
Well, the text is sometimes you just gotta say F it, and
we could swear. You could say.
We could swear.
Yeah.
Oh
sometimes
my God.
you just have to say
sometimes
fuck it.
You just gotta say fuck it and
fuck
have a pet sandal.
A pet sandal?
And it's a guy with a sandal and a leash in a subway somewhere.
Sometimes you gotta just say fuck it.
Yep.
I like that. All right, let's go through a couple more of your favorites. So Close Encounters, Star Wars, When Harry Met Sally. We've had that come up a couple of times, and it's funny because it's a comedy. It doesn't necessarily, if we're talking about Aliens, Close Encounter, Star Wars, and some of the others, When Harry Met Sally is not necessarily the first thing we think of, but it is a great movie.
It's a great writing movie for me too, because I've seen it, I don't know, 150 times.
Oh my God.
And these make fantastic writing movies because I can write with that in the background.
Oh, I do that with Seinfeld.
And my brain will let me know when like the really good parts are coming, and so I'll just like raise my head a little. But for most of it, I can just keep going and just absorb it without using any important part of my.
Well, you did bring up in your list. You wrote certain writing movies. So these are not movies that you like because of the writing in them, but they help you to write.
Yeah, but actually, When Harry Met Sally is a fantastic movie. It's one of my favorite movies.
Rob
of all
Reiner,
time,
right?
But, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, are we still Rob Reiner, or we're the woman who worked with him and did similar movies?
Oh, Penny Marshall?
Yeah.
No, I think
we're still Rob Reiner when Harry Met Sally.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. It's when you get to You've Got Mail, you're with.
Then you're. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. But then I have other writing movies which I don't necessarily think are great, but
Well, Field of Dreams you have written
Field
here.
of Dreams is good.
Yeah.
But it helps if I owned the videotape and it aired on TV a lot.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
But Field of Dreams, interestingly enough, I think is a good analogy for your experience in your career so far, because Build It and They Will Come. You wrote that book. You self-published. You created this whole world not for anyone, but once it was there, then they came. And so
I did write a book for the fun of it.
Yeah.
And good things came of it.
Yeah. So that movie's not so far off.
It is a good movie.
Well, you also mentioned some drinking movies. So let's get into your drinking movies.
Yeah.
Runaway, featuring Tom Selleck, Gene Simmons, and Kirstie Alley.
That's probably up there. I mean, it's really hard to beat.
I don't remember that one.
You have, so Gene Simmons is the bad guy.
Yeah,
and
of course.
He builds spider robots that have a syringe. And of course, if it hits you, you'll die.
Okay.
And he has a gun that fires bullets that follow you around.
Like heat-seeking missiles,
Well,
but
that's
they're
the
bullets.
thing. It's for like a little bit of the movie, they can't figure out what makes these seeking missiles follow you anyway. And so they cut one open, and it's not magnetic and whatnot, and like the whole time you're watching it, you're like, heat. I think it's heat. Heat. And it takes like 20 minutes for them to figure it out, talking about it. And eventually they figure out it's a heat-seeking thing. But it will turn corners and follow you around. And it's the most ridiculous thing ever. And so Tom Selleck puts on a suit that will mask his heat signature, because he has a unique heat signature, so the bullet can follow him. So he's wearing basically like aluminum foil or whatever. It's like silver.
Sounds like an amazing
silver
movie.
spandex, more or less. And he's running around with Kirstie Alley, and they avoid the spiders.
And so this is a serious movie?
It's a serious movie.
Oh,
it's
and-
absolutely serious.
Now, when you say it's a drinking movie, is there something that happens that you have to have a drink every time it
no,
happens?
it's just so horrible that it's enjoyable because it's really bad, and it really helps if you've had a few.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Mungani says the old Stockholm Syndrome approach to movies. Yes, we like that. Quigley Down Under and Flash Gordon also in your drinking
Well,
movies.
Flash Gordon, it's a classic. It's got flying monkeys. Anything with flying monkeys is good for drinking.
Yes,
I think.
that's right.
It's probably it's written somewhere. It's a rule.
So I was working in Australia about 20 years ago at a record store during the Christmas season, and someone came in and asked for Flash Gordon. And I said, "Oh, I love Flash Gordon! What a great movie!" And then I realized I'd misheard them. They were looking for Flesh Gordon, so that was embarrassing for both of us. But
Which one is more popular now?
yeah, exactly. Flesh Gordon wasn't it wasn't a porn. I think it was just like even more exploitative than some of the other ones. Okay, cheesy things I loved in my youth: The Last Starfighter and Enemy Mine. Oh,
Enemy Mine is awesome.
Yes.
I watched it with my kid, and I thought he's going to hate it, right? Because the special effects are horrible. They can't make a ship fly. It looks like I don't know what it looks like. It's not even. I don't know how they did it, but like I could do it better with my phone. Drawing. I don't know. It's horrible, but it's a great movie.
Yeah, the story. I recall the story being really good.
It works, and,
Yeah.
and my
What was it about again?
well, it's his little horrible flying jet crashes on a planet, and one of the enemy race. It's all a big metaphor for race. Again, sci-fi was good at that, and so is Lou Gossett Jr.
Oh, right.
And they hate each other and they try to kill each other, but then they start liking each other, and then Lou Gossett Jr. is pregnant, and he gets, and then Dennis Quaid has to take care of his son Zamis, who has 3 fingers, and he wants to know if one day Zamis will get 4 and 5 and whatever, and some of it is way clumsy because it's trying to, I don't know, play on themes that I guess at the time you couldn't. I don't know if you really couldn't do it like straight up, but anyway. But it's a good movie.
First of all, Mongani says, I love those. Enemy Mine had me fucked up. And Iravana says, both are awesome. Yeah, Enemy Mine was screwy for your head. Listen, it's like a match made in heaven with our viewers and your choices. Let me go through a couple of others. Cheesy things I loved in my teens. I see a lot of Tom Cruise on here. There's Cocktail and Top Gun.
Yes.
And Tequila Sunrise. Oh my God.
Tequila Sunrise was a big thing. I was had long hair.
Yeah, still do.
Leather jacket.
Still do.
I had a perm.
Oh, no, don't have that anymore.
I had a perm.
Yeah.
So, when you're like, I don't know, trying to find your identity and you think you're like, you hang out with, you want to be like some people.
Yeah.
And Tequila Sunrise for like a pubescent boy is full of people that sort of fit that bill perfectly.
That's true, eh? There's a lot of movies that I have to go back and watch because I haven't. Tequila Sunrise. I remember seeing it, but I couldn't.
That hasn't aged well.
No, I can only imagine. Just back to some of your favorites here, because The Abyss. We talked about that last week.
I saw that movie, I think, 7 or 8 times in the theater.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Is that the movie you've seen the most in the theater?
No.
What would that be?
Moulin Rouge.
Moulin Rouge, which is also on here as well. Okay, can I make an admission?
Yep.
I've never seen Moulin Rouge.
Can I leave now?
I feel like you also haven't seen it? Okay. Baz Luhrmann.
Yep.
And I recall enjoying Romeo and Juliet. I like Baz Luhrmann's works, but for some reason I never saw that. So you're telling me I need to?
It's a great movie. Mm-hmm. I like that movie so much that I at karaoke I found people who could sing the Elephant Love Medley with me, even though they didn't have the music. So we did it without music.
Okay.
I had to.
Are you ready to do it for us now?
Nope.
Okay. All right. Well, let's keep moving. Lost in Translation, fantastic, crazy, amazing, Broken Flowers. You must be excited for the new Jim Jarmusch zombie movie.
Yeah, except zombie is not my cup of tea normally, but I'll watch anything Jim Jarmusch.
Do you like vampire movies?
Depends.
Because they just announced that Danzig is going to be directing a vampire movie. I don't know what to expect from that. Look, there's so many. I love Pacific Rim too, and that was you've got that here, the Iron Giant. So clearly you like robots, big robots in movies. But one of the movies that you mentioned, I want to show a scene from it. So it's The Matrix, and we'll do picture in picture. So we might as well start running that scene. Oh, we can't.
We can't do picture in picture.
No.
How are we gonna know?
What's that?
The clips that you sent us, none of them worked. So
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so let's watch a little bit of that scene, and you could tell us why you liked, why the scene is so marked you that much.
Yeah.
So let's watch it first, and then once we've gotten to the point where we'll stop it whenever you're ready.
That scene is so cool.
So now we're in picture-in-picture. So let us know. Give us a play-by-play of what you love about this.
This was probably my favorite part. I've seen this like a million times. I'll tell you why after.
Okay.
You're given specific orders.
Hey, I'm just doing my job. Give me that Juris Knight Dixon crap. Wrap your ass. The orders were for protection.
I sent 2 units.
Handled one girl.
It's been a while. I was off by 1 line. They're bringing her down now.
Oh, you're good.
No, Lieutenant, your men are already dead.
This is the scene. Oh yeah, the classic.
Yeah, we never seen that. I mean, you really didn't know what you were getting into when you saw that movie for the first time.
Yeah. And I think the budget was 30 million, which for the time was a lot, but imagine what you could make now with 30 million.
Well, those scenes were just regular picture cameras.
Yeah.
Just a whole bunch of them, yeah.
So did you know that they all had to read a tremendous amount of philosophy and evolutionary theory just to prepare for the roles? Like the Wachowski brothers would not let anybody on set unless they had read, thousands of pages of philosophy for them to understand what was going on in the movie.
Yeah, the books that I saw that people talked about when they made this, some of them they're not that, but
and so this was.
I mean, unless I'm wrong, but I think Simulacra Simulation is one of them, and it's not that huge, unless
Yeah, that's one of the books that they all had to read. Yeah, exactly. Have you read that?
No, I bought it, but
Are there still parts that you want to show
no,
of this?
we're good.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so
the landing is cool. Let's
okay,
do
the landing.
There you go. And
Sticks
he
it.
does a cool, let's break some stuff landing. The knee landing, that would hurt.
That's the
but-
hero pose, isn't
Yep.
it? Yeah. And apparently Weaving, the actor who plays him, only realized that his hairline was receding as bad as it was when there was one of those scenes where they actually had to get a bunch of lookalikes, and he was looking at all the other lookalikes around him and he realized,
Oh,
I think I'm losing my hair. Oops. Honest movie trailer.
no. All right.
So what is it specifically about that scene that you love so much?
Well, like I was saying, when you first see that movie, you really don't know what you're getting. Like you get the beginning with the symbols coming down, and then you get this.
Yeah.
And it's got special effects you've never seen before. Trinity is a fantastic character, and it takes a while before you even sort of begin to realize what kind of story you're into. And when that came out, I was younger, single, and my sleep patterns were different. I would go out at night quite often and come back late and sometimes slightly inebriated. But
Slightly inebriated?
I would always put this on.
Really?
And I'd fall asleep after that scene, pretty much what we watched.
Okay, yeah.
No, Lieutenant, your men are already dead. But, yeah. But so I must have seen it, I don't know, 300 times.
Wow.
The beginning of that movie.
Yeah.
So it left a mark.
Do you feel that the whole trilogy, did they carry the torch well enough right through?
Well, it was one of those things, like when they did the Star Wars prequels. There was it had probably had too much of an impact the first time around. There was kind of no way to end this in a way that would have satisfied everyone.
Yeah.
I thought they did all right. I like the first one better than the second one. I like the second one better than the third one. But it's
Which is the one that had the crazy chase, the car, the highway scene where they had to build a highway just to film it.
With the katana. Too.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
Yeah.
And you know what? The casting of whoever realized that Keanu Reeves is a great actor. I mean, it was so smart to use his whoa in a serious way.
Yeah.
Like brilliant casting, and we've talked about it many times on the show. Keanu Reeves, like his life story. What a great guy. Like I would love Keanu, if you're watching, please come on the show.
Yep.
We love you.
I'll come back.
Yeah, exactly. We'll
I want to hang with Keanu.
well, he's in Montreal often for John Wick. Are you looking forward to John Wick 3?
I like John Wick.
Yeah, it's good times.
Yeah.
I want to show you a trailer of a movie that I saw. I saw the trailer this week, and it looks like a very different take on the superhero genre. Can you pull up the trailer for Brightburn? I'd heard about this from a friend of mine.
Brightburn?
Brightburn, yeah. And imagine if Superman were a fucking asshole.
I can imagine that.
It's kind of that's the picture that I get from this. I think it's a horror movie. We don't have too much time. We have about 10 minutes left, so let's watch that, and I want to hear your thoughts. Then we'll do a bit of tagline trivia to finish off.
Mom, who am I? You are a gift.
So already it's a bit like the Superman beginning, Guardians of the Galaxy. So James Gunn is producing. Yeah.
Who's directing?
I don't know. But watch this. Oh.
I was her mother. Let's go.
Oh.
Oh. I
Still
see
freaks
this.
me out, though.
Yeah.
I don't care if your hand survives. It's wrong.
Eee. Almost looks like a Blumhouse style movie. Huh?
One of the only people in the world that knows how special I am.
There are believed to be no survivors among the 268 passengers on board.
Did he have a cape?
Maybe.
I think he was floating with a cape.
Oh, he does. Yes.
Yeah.
I want to do good. I do.
Somehow I hope I don't know why I'm thinking of that, but I hope the movie is not a huge success just for the sake of the kid.
Right.
They'll mess him up.
That's
time.
right.
Yeah.
You mean the actor?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. But I've never seen a concept like. It's hard to think that kind of almost obvious concept slipped by, and it's been how many times can you rewrite a superhero movie? And
You said superhero asshole. Superman was an asshole. I thought Hancock. I didn't think this.
yeah, exactly. But this is okay. Maybe asshole is not the right thing. But if Superman were evil or let the dark side, if the dark side happened to infuse itself into Superman. OSAB says, hopefully parents watch the trailer rather than hear kid with superpowers and decide to take their young kids. Yeah, absolutely true.
I watched the first episode of Teen Titans with my son because he watched Teen Titans Go, and it seemed like, all right, so it's a live action Teen Titans.
Oh,
that'll
no.
be cool. Oh, damn, that thing is like, it's hardcore.
Really?
Yeah, it's like there's blood gushing everywhere, and like they're going overboard.
No kidding.
Yeah,
Okay.
I had to stop that thing midway. It's like, no kid. And I mean, and I will show my son things that other parents maybe would not, but this was like way over the top. Like, no, you can't watch this.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Teen Titans, you know, we had a conversation in an early episode about how, you know, it's kind of fun, you know, like Riverdale, or, you know, taking these old properties and making them darker and making them...
Riverdale is weird, though, because it's not really taking this old property. It's just making something completely different with this as a...
Well, I have to say, I haven't seen it.
I've watched a couple episodes, but it's like, it's got nothing to do with it.
Do you like it, though?
It was all right.
TV shows for you. What? We didn't even talk about Black Mirror. Okay, we have like how much?
Minutes?
We have how much time left? We have like 5 minutes left. You're a big fan of Black Mirror, the TV show. So tell me about your potential involvement in Black Mirror.
Well, it's less and less potential. I mean, I was involved, definitely involved. There was not potential.
Yeah.
It was one of those things. I get an email again, and like instead of do you want to write for Star Wars, the idea was to make Black Mirror in book form. So basically, write each book would have had 3 stories in each, written by different people, set in the Black Mirror universe, whatever that means, because it's not the same as like Star Wars or whatever.
Right.
And I was approached, and I worked on the story. There were 3 authors, me, Cory Doctorow, and Claire North were picked for the first book. But then the show got really, really popular, like after the San Junipero episode, and it won prizes and everything. And the producers were like way too busy to give this project the attention that they wanted to give to it. And they're not the kind of people who will just say, you know, cut me a check and like they micromanage that thing, like they wrote everything together.
Right.
And the back and forth started to slow down, and eventually everyone sort of decided it was better to put that on hold. So right now I wouldn't hold my breath for that book, but it was cool. I was flattered at least to be a part of it.
Think of that. I mean, Star Wars, Black Mirror. You're selling hundreds of thousands of copies around the world. You've got what was The Test? That's so tell me about The Test.
The Test is it's a tiny book. It's a novella. It's about 100 pages. It's about a citizenship test in the United Kingdom. It's sort of timely.
Brexit.
And it doesn't use metaphors to talk about things.
Right.
Yeah, it's sort of in your face. And speaking of TV, Friday, everyone's about Endgame. I'm actually more excited about the season 2 of She-Ra. I love that show. Me and my son watch it. It's one of those cool moments. We love She-Ra.
But you're also so is Elizabeth. Elizabeth's very excited about She-Ra.
Yeah, and you can't say favorite movie Thor Ragnarok and not like She-Ra.
Yeah, you're right. No,
it goes hand in hand.
You're right. I admittedly, I've been much more movies lately. I'm still on season 2 of Game of Thrones, so you know, like I have so much catching up to do. But I'm going to watch Teen Titans. I'm going to watch She-Ra. I'm going to watch Enemy Mine. I'm going to watch The Last Starfighter and Tequila Sunrise. And there's so much here that I want to watch. Moulin Rouge. Let's take the 2-3 minutes we have left just to try a little bit of tagline trivia, because I have a feeling you're a movie guy. So name me a decade, and I'll pull up some taglines from movies of that decade.
80s.
80s. All right. 80s are always fun. Let's go to it. Okay. The first superhero from New Jersey. This might be too. Okay, no. Okay, forget that. That was the Toxic Avenger. Let me find something. There was also. Hold on. This time it's war. And this is one of your favorite movies. So think, this time it's war. So it would have to be a sequel.
Yeah.
in your list of movies. We talked about Sigourney. Oh, I've given it away.
Aliens?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
It's not no one can really hear you scream? Or?
Right, exactly. Let me see if, oh my God. No, that's too easy. I was going to say the system gave him a raw deal. Nobody gives him a raw deal. Anyone? Schwarzenegger? It was called Raw Deal. All right, let me find something else.
Put the name of the movie twice in your tagline.
Exactly. Part man, part machine, all cop. The future of law enforcement.
RoboCop.
There you go. All right.
You have 15 seconds to drop your weapon. That's not RoboCop. That's the
That is
409.
Which one is that?
It's the big two-legged robot that.
Oh, right, exactly. Yeah.
The one that kills the boss. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we did this one a couple of weeks ago, but this is another movie that we talked about today, and I don't know that you'll know that this was the tagline. But when he pours, he rains.
Whoa.
When he pours.
Oh, really? Cocktail?
Cocktail. Yeah, there you go. One of my favorite. Oh, okay. This is one of my favorite movies of all time. This could be the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
Oh, Casablanca.
No, but it's an 80s movie. Yeah.
So,
I will give you. It's a buddy movie. Robert De Niro in maybe one of the first comedies that he did. Charles Grodin. Let's see. What other hints could I give? From 1988, Midnight Run.
Midnight Run.
Did you ever see that?
Yeah.
Such a great movie. Such a great
That's
movie.
the tagline?
Yeah.
Huh, weird. I don't get that vibe from the movie at all, but.
Let me find. Okay, hold on. I've done so many of these.
We have determined that I suck at this.
No, we haven't.
Well, let's determine it now.
Okay, gotcha. All right. Can two friends sleep together and still love each other in the morning?
When Harry and Sally.
There you go.
Yeah.
You got it. You're a champ. Ooh, that was a good one. Okay, so I think we're catching up to the end. I had other trailers I wanted to show. You're just gonna have to come back.
I will.
We'll do another episode. So this is your chance to plug yourself. Where can people find you? Where can they find some of your work? What are you working on now? This is your moment to shine, my friend.
All right.
Be bona fide.
I just sold a new trilogy to Tor.com. I won't spoil it, but it's set at the end of the Second World War. And it's about a mother and daughter pair who are unique in many ways, and they're
Superpowers, maybe?
Well, I don't know. You'll see, but it'll take a while before you can actually find out, because that book will probably come out fall of 2020. In the meantime, the test just came out in February.
Okay.
And it's a tiny book. It's cheap. The ebook's like $4.99. And the audio version is absolutely amazing, narrated by Neil Shaw.
Oh, wow.
The Themis Files, 3 books: Sleeping Giants, Waking Gods, and Only Human. They're all out in hardcover, paperback. The audio of those books is fantastic. They used a cast, like a...
Oh, really?
There's one voice per character, so it's like listening to like a movie or a radio show or whatever. It's amazing.
Okay.
Yeah, that's about it.
And so you said you signed this trilogy coming out. You signed to which.com?
Tor.com.
Tor.com.
Tor. It's a part of Macmillan.
Oh, wow. Okay, great.
Very happy about it. It's cool. I love those books. I've only written one. I'm about to start editing it, and then I have to write 2 more.
And you're expecting similar reactions to, or hoping for
certainly
similar?
Hoping.
Yeah. Okay, that's great.
Yeah. No, I'd love for people. I mean, I think people who like what I did so far will enjoy these books. I assure I'm having a blast writing them, so it's usually, I don't know, it's a good sign. And
if people want to keep up to date on what you're doing, your website?
Yeah, anything. I'm on social media. My website, just anything with Neuvel in it. So it's my last name. There aren't a bunch of them. So I'm Neuvel on Twitter. Sylvain Neuvel on Instagram, Facebook, neuvel.net, website, whatever. I'm easy to find. I'm the easiest guy to find. If you Google me, like horrible pictures of me come up.
Well, we've got a good. Apparently, who is it that really liked the headshot? Mongani, yeah, that's right. So, hey guys, I really want to thank you all for all your comments. It's great when you guys participate.
Yeah.
This is our second interview together, and I hope for many more.
Cool.
It's a tremendous pleasure. And what we were talking about before is that it's so much fun that we can just literally talk for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And you know, we're not editing anything out. So continue to watch. We'll definitely have Sylvain back on. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me. This
Thank
was
you.
great.
And you're a big fan of cosplay. Tomorrow night we have Cosplay Cave. And who are our guests tomorrow?
It's Acrazia and Schmooberry.
Acrazia and Schmooberry. So you have to tune in for that. That's at 6:30. Right here on Bean Duck. Keep tuned in. I'm not here next week. So are you guys, are we skipping a week? Is that what's going on?
We're probably just going to skip a week and cry in your absence.
So I'll be lounging around in Cuba.
I'll host.
Yeah. Okay, we'll have Sylvain back, he'll host, and I'll be back in 2 weeks and we'll talk more. At that point, we'll be able to talk more Endgame because I didn't want to spoil anything, but...
No, I'm getting rid of you now.
Okay, bye. No, we're done. Goodbye.